Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today is the Wnr423. It's AEW Double or Nothing. But I am not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first, a woman trying to protect her prediction league wins, and by my side for every WWE and AEW pay-per-view, it is Jaxie. How you doing?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Doing well, thanks. Excited to jump into this 4 hour and 4 and a bit hour podcast. Here we go.
Well, it's funny because people kind of email and go, well, your pre-show was nearly 3 hours. It's a bit long. It's not as long as the fucking pay-per-view, boys and girls. But, we will get on that, of course. Next, a man who is so chilled that he should be called Mr. Freeze. But he is our resident NXT and Japan expert. It is Monty. How you going, man?
I'm doing good. I'm making it. You should have introduced me as a person whose predictions you should not trust, because I absolutely suck as of late. But let's get into it though. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, but to be fair, Monty, in the first half, if anybody's listened to the first couple of pods we did at the start of the year, you're doing really well. So no spoiler alerts, all right? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And finally, well, this person would be my Einstein, my Newton, my Galileo, and my Hawking to the WNR. It is, of course, Gina. How you doing?
Hey guys, I'm good, thank you, and hope everybody else enjoyed Double or Nothing just as much as we did.
Yeah, without doubt. Well, we're going to get onto that in just a minute. I'll just let everybody know who's listening. If I sound a little bit weird, I am a little bit under the weather at this moment in time. Do not worry, it's not COVID related. I have not been near Dan, but we will get onto the show. And of course, it was Double or Nothing. Our pre-show, which is fantastic. There was some news that dropped Sunday morning in between when we actually did the show, and that was about MJF. Now, Monty, did you follow this situation closely? Because this is one of these things we weren't really sure about was going on, whereas MJF would actually even be at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I paid attention to it, but I didn't really worry too much about it, honestly, because I just for some reason I just had a feeling that it wasn't really gonna end up with him no showing. Like I know he missed some fan events, and I get it. It was definitely weird because at the end of the day he's always shown up no matter what's been going on behind the scenes. So it definitely made you wonder. But I don't know what it was. I don't know why. I just was like, yeah, he'll still be there for the Wardlow match, though, most likely. I wasn't buying it. But yeah, when the plane ticket stuff came out, it was like you were wondering. But I wasn't really that worried for some reason. I don't necessarily know why, but I just wasn't.
Well, I was worried because when they were talking about maybe MJF not showing up, Goldberg was touted on Twitter as a replacement. And I thought, well, if you want to piss off a whole arena.
Okay, I didn't hear that part.
Jaxie, were you worried at all about this whole MJF situation? Because it didn't come out of the blue as such.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was. I just thought to myself, that out of everything, I was thinking more about Wardlow and what this, kind of it would mean if it was true that, he didn't turn up. And I just kind of felt a bit bad for him. I also feel like, it was a greatly anticipated match that, like, a lot of fans wanted. So it would have been extremely upsetting if that had not happened. But I also do think it was a bit of a smart move because it was just sort of number one trending throughout the whole day.
Yeah, I think that it did bring excitement towards the pay-per-view. I mean, Gina, I'll ask you this question because obviously with Cody going to WWE and the Sasha Banks and Naomi situation at this moment in time, is MJF doing this just because of, like we talk about, what has been going on and WWE actually being an alternative now for AEW wrestlers as opposed to maybe a couple of years ago it was all W love?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say that with all these different changes just happening, they all keep happening out of the blue as well. You never know what to expect with these things. I definitely think MJF has taken advantage of current situations that are ongoing at the moment, and knowing that he could possibly weave that to more of his advantage to possibly get a better deal, with that threat looming under there. I also, I don't know. I also think that it's hard because everything that MJF does at the moment, even though everybody hates him, everything he does and says is kind of true. It's like he kind of breaks that fourth wall. And so you kind of want to shout and scream at him. Just give him whatever contract he's asking for. He's the best thing in AEW at the moment. So I don't see what the problem is here. But I do think that they've realized that they can keep the light on AEW by pushing this a little bit more in terms of storyline. So I definitely think it's taking advantage of the current situations that are happening in the wrestling world at the moment.
And also, I think it's brilliant that in 2022, you talk about kayfabe dying years and years ago, that we are having a discussion whether something has actually worked or a shoe or what is going on with it. And I think that only shows that professional wrestling can still work the best it has done for all these years as well. So, like I said, we're going to dig deep into the MJF situation and, of course, the fallout from it. But we are going to start Double or Nothing. And we had the buy-in to begin with Max Caster with the Arse Boys performing a rap. Bowen's coming out just shouting arse at the end. These four are wildly entertaining, but I actually don't watch Dark or Elevation, so I'm not seeing a lot of these guys at the moment. But again, they're really, really... Jaxie, are you a fan of the Arse Boys, and especially Billy Gunn's relationship with the Acclaimed?
Yeah, I actually am. I thoroughly enjoy I do watch a lot of the Dark and Elevation that happens weekly, and I feel like they're really kind of doing so much character build on there. It's highly entertaining watching sort of like this whole thing come together, because I didn't really know how it was going to work when with the Ass Boys and the Acclaimed working together, but they've really just kind of done well with it. They could actually have this as an ongoing storyline at the moment, and actually kind of bring new light to it, within tag team wrestling, like feuding over sort of Daddy Gunn at some point between both of them. So yeah, it's just great entertainment that I'm enjoying at the moment.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we'll move on to the match on the buy-in, which was a tag match and a debut of Hookhausen versus Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. Good pop for Danhausen and of course Hook. Smart Mark wearing wrestling gear is a sight you can't unsee, and this is good as well because Tony Nese, his dream after leaving WWE, because he was sick of being on kickoffs, to go to AEW on a buy-in. There you go. He's living the dream right now. But to be fair, he does look absolute, which is a word I came up for Tony Nese because his abs were so impressive. I had to kind of think. So absolute, he definitely was. As for the match, well, Hill shook off curses from Danhausen to beat him down and cut him off with his partner. Hot tag to Hook sparked the comeback for the popular tandem and culminated with a second generation star tagging in his very nice, very evil partner so that he could score the pinfall on Sterling. Monty, what did you think of the opening match?
I think it served its purpose. It was fun. I don't know if I would say comedy match, but it definitely had comedy spots. It probably was a comedy match. But I don't think it overstayed its welcome. We finally got to see this team together. We got to see Danhausen do a little bit, and Sterling, I thought, did a good job selling. And like you said, his look was definitely eye catching. But it was a satisfying debut for the team, I think. So I don't. The hot crowd too was there. The wrestling here wasn't anything special, but it didn't have to be. So I gave it 3.5 stars.
Yeah, I thought it was like I said, the perfect buy-in show match where it's sort of team that we wanted to see in a match we were actually interested in. Didn't really last long, and you only have to look at RK Bro for an oddball team to kind of work as well. I'm going to score that 3 and 3, 5. Gina, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I thought the match was good. I wasn't a massive fan of Danhausen when he first came into it. So I wouldn't exactly say I'm a massive fan now, but I kind of appreciate his character a bit more. And I was entertained. You know, there are sometimes you get a buy-in or you know, a pre-show, and you're not really interested in the match that's on it because it's usually a random match. But where we've had the build-up for this match as well, there was a lot of anticipation, so a lot of people were excited to watch this buy-in and be there from the very start. And I think that's what made the match work well as well. But yeah, it was good.
We could score out of 5.
Oh, I'll give it a 3.5. 3.5 is good.
And Jaxie?
Yeah, agree with everything that you guys have said, really, same as what Monty said. I don't think it was like anything over the top and impressive wrestling wise, but I think it did what it needed to do to kind of start solidifying this as a real tag team with potential. And I don't know why, but I've got real sort of Booker T Goldust vibes with kind of the different personalities and things like that. So we'll definitely see where things go for Hookhausen. But I'll do the same and rate it 3.5.
Yeah, not bad stuff at all. Well, with predictions, we of course we always do prediction leagues, and we'll just go through it. We've got 3 prediction leagues. We've got the bonus league with Gina and Jaxie on 5 at the moment. Monty's on 6. I'm on 9. The W pay-per-view league, well, we got Gina on 2, and Monty, Jaxie, and James all on 3. And then the AEW prediction league, which was focusing on obviously today, Gina and Monty on 0 at this moment. Jaxie with 1, so we'll find out what happens. We all went Hookhausen, so we all get 1 point each to start. And of course, we ask about polls as well. And Hookhausen got 94% of the vote, which means they were pretty strong favourites. We move on to the main show. And I mean, I'll ask you first, Monty. Do you think MJF and Wardlow would have started the show? Apparently that was a plan originally, but I thought it was a bit of a weird position.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I do think it kind of maybe was weird, but honestly, I didn't necessarily. I didn't mind it. I think it made the most sense, honestly. But maybe they did switch it with the headlines going into the show. It probably made more sense with all those headlines to get it over with, and try to make it look as much like more conflict as it than it was or whatever. It kind of played into the drama better at the first match, I kind of think. But I don't know necessarily if it. I don't necessarily know what would have led off. Like, I guess they had other options that could have led it off, but they had plenty of them with all these matches. So I guess you definitely had plenty to choose from. But anyway, yeah, I don't mind it as an opening match though, because like I said, I think it played into the story and all that well, and it also kind of confirmed to me this is probably going to be a squash.
Well, we did hear MJF music to start, and the Salt of the Earth kept us waiting for a little while. I mean, I did think he would show up, but again, his perfect kind of heel tactics. And of course, the story of the weekend, MJF even mimicking an airplane before Mr. Mayhem made his entrance, of course, flanked by security. Well, Max tried everything he could to try and escape the inevitable, but Wardlow cut him off at every turn and dealt him punishment. That was 2.5 years in the making. The War Dog obliterated MJF with 10 power bombs. The fans in Las Vegas erupting after each one. Gina, what did you think of this match?
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I think I predicted on our prediction show that it wasn't going to be a long match. I'm not surprised that it was the first match. For some reason, I kind of got the Brock Lesnar vibes in terms of I'm either the first match or I'm either the last match. And for some reason, I had a feeling that MJF was the same. Like, I'm either the first or the last match. That's it. So I feel like I wasn't shocked to see it as the first match. And yeah, it was good for as long as it went. It gave the crowd what they wanted. So yeah, I'd say it was good. I'd give it like a 3 3/4.
Yeah, well, like you said, the reaction from the crowd, it was real feelings as well, and MJF's got one of the biggest reactions of people who were chanting that he showed up, cheering, and then go fuck himself, which again, to ride that spectrum, but he did do his job. was 10 too much of a punishment, Jaxie, do you reckon? Do you think they could have stopped at 5?
Hell no. I definitely think he deserved 10 power bombs. He gave the man 10 lashes with a belt, and the last one being right to the balls. So no, he deserved all 10 of them, but he took them with absolute grace. And the thing that topped it, this whole sort of opening match that just made it like the perfect opener for me, was how MJF was like sort of carted off. Like, I don't know what they were, whether or not the crew really knew what they were doing. They had like the eye mask over, like they had the mask over his eyes rather than his mouth. Yeah, it was just brilliantly done. And I really enjoyed sort of the aspect of it being first, because if it was like the most talked about sort of discussion leading up to Double or Nothing. So I felt like you needed to get this out of the way, because everyone's just otherwise going to be wondering, and their minds and thoughts are always going to be going back to MJF. Like, is he there? Is he going to come out? You know, that sort of thing. So I think it was well placed. I'm not sure if it was originally meant to be there, but if it wasn't and they moved it there, that was a smart move again by them.
Yeah, what would you score it out of 5?
Yeah, I'm going to give it like 3 3.75, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, the stretcher job was great. Tony Schiavone interviewing the winner of the ramp, confirming that Wardlow is now all elite. And, you know, what is next for Wardlow? Monty, what's next for Wardlow, and what's your score?
My score was 3 3/4 also. I agree with Jackson. You know, the match went exactly how it was supposed to go. And I thought it ended the angle perfectly. It was executed the right way. And the backstage chatter only made the heat even better, so the crowd was perfect. So, I gave it 3 3/4. It wasn't really much of a match. It kind of just finished the angle. But as far as what's next for Wardlow, I think it's probably just going to continue to go on a streak, you know, for a while, continue to build him up, maybe a title shot of some sort. I don't necessarily know if you go World or TNT quite yet. I don't know what's next, but he's definitely going to be a champion down the line. Or like, cause whenever he fight a Scorpio, we probably would say Wardlow would win right now the way he's been booked. So I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think the immediate first step is probably just continue to send him guys to Powerball.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting thing to do. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because I think that it needed to be. Predictions, we all went Wardlow, so we're all on 2 points at this moment in time. And poll-wise, with that, Wardlow again getting 90% of the vote. So these polls have not been close recent times at all. And up next, we get the Hardys versus the Young Bucks. And an Elvis Presley-inspired entrance for the Bucks as Super Kick Party rang out in Vegas as Caprice Coleman joined commentary for the Delete versus Elite. And this was billed as a dream match between two of the best tag team in wrestling history. And it might have been the case maybe 5 or 10 years ago. But for me, this was a tale of two halves. The first was slow, plodding, featuring a Jeff Hardy that appeared out of it and a step slower than everyone else. He struggled with Matt audibly calling his spots for him, and the match suffered for it. But he did manage to recover somewhat, and the match flowed. The Bucks unloaded super kicks, and their opponents defiantly dared them to bring more. They did, but it was in Hardy's absorbed and advanced, with Jeff dealing a final blow to Matt Jackson by way of a death-defying swanton bomb, then joining his brother in putting Nick away for the win. Jaxie, what did you think of this?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think that Jeff hasn't had enough time off in between like some of his most recent matches, so I feel like his movements were a lot slower because of as a result of that. But overall, I actually enjoyed the match. I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed seeing like kind of the brotherness of the teams on either side, and kind of like how coherently they all work together And yeah, I just thought it was kind of like a feel good match that was just kind of given to us fans of nostalgia. So for me, I'm gonna say it's not bad. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 just because I really did enjoy it.
Yeah. Gina, what about you?
Yeah, again, I can't really say much else apart from the other two. So it was a good match. I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't get the point for that one. I did genuinely think that we'd probably get another match between them, but after watching this one, I kind of realized no, just let the Hardys win it and give Jeff some time off to rest and recuperate. So yeah, no, it was a good match. I enjoyed it, but I do think that Jeff did struggle and it was very apparent. So for me, I am going to give it a 3 just for that. It was hard to watch.
This is the thing, and for me as well, is because I'm always trying to look at different stuff, and I'm seeing Jeff kind of playing on what he's doing, and suddenly, like, his boot just comes undone, and I'm thinking, why would he not make sure that was sorted before he kind of made his entrance? I mean, Matt Hardy did try his best. Monty, what do you think of it? Because it was just a bit odd, I thought.
Yeah, man, I have respect for both these teams, and I have to commend the Bucks first, and like you said, Matt, for basically carrying Jeff through it. And they did a ton of the heavy lifting in this one. But, like y'all said, Jeff needs to recover from his injuries, which are probably most likely picked up because AEW thought they signed 22-year-old Jeff Hardy, or this was not, they had him jumping off everything since he's debuted, and not it's like it's 99 again. And like, of course, he's gonna need time off after all this. He's 40, 40. He's not gonna recover the same from those bumps like he used to. You need weeks off in between. I didn't like it when WWE had him bumping a couple years back like that. Still, I just at the end of the day, Jeff is gonna be Jeff. So I guess you kind of have to expect it. And they did save this match, like you said, as it went on later. It finished pretty nicely, but. Jeff's tried at least 5 swan times in here, and they just get harder and harder to watch the more he does it at this point. But I gave it 3.5 stars, man. It was almost laughable at times how bad Jeff got. And like you said, he needs time off. He really does. You can see it. He cannot bump like he's been doing and then be expected to wrestle as much as he wrestles.
No, without doubt. Like I said, 3.5 for me there. Prediction wise, Gina and Jaxie went the Bucks, they stay on 2. Monty and me went the Hardy, so we moved to 3. Poll wise on that one, we have the Hardys at 64%. So they were the favourites there. And we move on to the TBS Championship match, Anna Jay versus Jade Cargill. Of course, Cargill got the co-debater, flanked by Vegas dancers as the baddies watch from the front row. And it was a valiant effort. We saw interference from Kira Hogan, Rev Velvet, and Mark Sterling. Not to mention the debut of Stokely Hathaway. Jay fell prey to a top rope Jadies as Cargill earned another impressive victory. After the match, Chris Statler came to the defense of a friend for the fallen goddess Athena, former Ember Moon Maiden, and stood side by side with the baby faces. Monty, before I get your thoughts on the match, Jaxie, do you want to say you told us so?
I told you so. I was hoping you were going to let me say this. I told you all. I actually predicted that it was going to be Ember Moon, aka Athena, coming out to make the save after Jade wins and just, beats on Anna after. I told you. Just saying. Thank you, James.
Monty, what do you think of the match?
Jaxstradamus. I think the match, like you said, I wasn't really feeling it, but like it's mostly because of the build. Like Anna, like who actually believed she was gonna win it anyway, even if, when as the match finally got its legs under it. But Jade looked to be the more improved of the two, honestly, since their last match. But it makes sense because Jade has actually been on TV consistently and working. But anyway, I was excited to see Stokely and with Athena coming out. That at least made this match feel like it accomplished something for me. But man, this was kind of overbooked too. But I still gave it like 3 stars. It was still decent to me though.
Yeah, no, I gave it a 3 1/4. But I just felt There's a couple of things. Jade Cargill's, I mean, Jaxie must have been happy when, like we said, Athena showed up, but not as happy as Jade Cargill. Someone should tell her that that was meant to be a threat, not to look. She did show up. And again, Malcolm Bivens, the former Malcolm Bivens, showing up as Jade Cargill's mouthpiece makes sense. But what is it with Ember Moon trying to take on an undefeated fighter on a winning streak?
Yeah, she's obsessed with that one, man.
She will not.
She always reaches for the top. She always reaches for the top.
She won't let it lie. Can she stop the 32? And I will be interested to say. Jaxie, what did you score that? Obviously, with the feel-good moment at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I must agree with kind of what both of yourself and Monty have said, though, like that, because there was not much build to the match. I'm trying to actually think about the match as well, not just sort of my excitement at getting it right, getting the ending right. You know, I do agree that I feel like Jade has greatly improved in the ring, and she's so entertaining to watch for me. I can't, even though we don't have an explanation, Ari Red Velvet turning heel, I really do like this aspect of the baddies as well. And I did say about needing someone to kind of come in fresh faced and be like, I'm going to attempt that to break that streak. I think Ember Moon is a great choice for this. You know, as you guys have said, she's got a history for trying to break streaks. So let's see whether or not she can actually do it on this one. I kind of agreed with you, James, and I went with 3.25 on this one. The quarter is that extra quarter is for Athena and her entrance and her arrival into AEW.
Yeah, I think we're out. Gina, what about you?
Yeah, I agree again with what you guys have said. The lack of build up to this match didn't make it the most exciting to look forward to, but I knew that there would be some sort of tomfoolery with the baddies at play, and so something could have come from it. I didn't assume Athena was going to be there, but I did think she was going to be coming to AEW at some point. So I was super pleased with her arrival. But the match itself, it was okay. It was standard. I just think the lack of build just made it a bit of a basic match in my eyes. So yeah, I'll give it 3.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, prediction wise, we all went Jade. So at the moment, it is Monty and myself on 4, Jackson on 3. Poll wise for that one, Jade Cargill again. I don't know. I mean, we've been doing polls a long time, and I don't think we've had more one-sided polls, especially like the first kind of 4 matches. Again, Jade Cargill with 79%. You could argue that maybe she was a more firmer favourite than, say, the Hardys were. I don't know if I mentioned Anna's tight splitting. I did mention it about Charlotte a couple of months ago, so we'll mention about Anna. Bit weird, I suppose, but still. And then we move on to Death Triangle versus the House of Black. And like the entrances themselves were absolutely kind of mind-boggling. It made it feel like a big deal, and all 6 men in this match had expanded roles as well. We talk about the entrances. Death Triangle accompanied by a Tiny Penta and of course Alex Abrahantes, and the crowd was red hot for every spot, with all 6 competitors had ended to be built up. Bumps later in the bout, Pac appeared to be rolling after Phoenix, and Penta laid out Buddy Matthews and Brody King, leaving Black to fend for himself. But Black, looking like a total badass, welcomed a beating from his opponents for laying 2 out of the 3 with a Black mass finisher. And just as the bastard settled the Black out of the arena darkened, and when the lights came back up, Judy Hart blinded him with a Black miss. Pleasure leads it to the hills, and Black gets the victory. Gina, what do you think of this?
This was probably one of my favorite matches of Double or Nothing. It was awesome. There's too much that happened to even like break it down fully and explain to you. So if anyone hasn't seen it, you need to just go watch the match for yourself. I was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end. Everyone got their own spots. I need to see more between these 2 teams, because this is an ongoing feud. I'd love to go on forever and never be bored by them. I would rate the match very highly, so I'd give it a 5.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, but for me, bit silly before I get to serious. The mask and the face paints were great, but I couldn't help think of Danhausen and the amount of black and white face paint actually used backstage at that point in time, because obviously the whole House of Black, you got Penty, you got Danhausen, you're thinking who else is going to get involved.
Darby's on the show.
Wait, Thunder Rosa, yeah, Darby,
Thunder Rosa.
yeah.
Whoever's making face paint for AEW is making a killing. At
You'd
this
think
moment
he's
in
given
time.
them a bit of a day off, so they didn't mind that.
There's things like have mine. There you go.
Yeah.
Jeff, I forgot Jeff. Didn't
Yeah.
Jeff?
Oh yeah,
did Jeff paint?
Jeff.
Jeff always paints.
Yeah. There's a fair few. Give me Pac versus Buddy. That's the match I want.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I think for me, not since the Shield versus the Wyatts have I enjoyed two teams going at it with the kind of story into it, the kind of the history of each team as well. I mean, yes, there were a couple of missteps. Brody nearly broke his back on the apron, and the spot, like you talk about, Gina, so many spots, but Buddy getting destroyed on the apron is saying that was highly, highly impressive. Monty, what would you score it out of 5?
Yeah, I gave it 4.25, man. It was awesome, you know. And after the awesome match they had on the buy-in at the last big show, I was happy that they was on the main card here and they was able to just kind of I don't even want to say set a tone, but this kind of woke me up. It was I knew it was gonna be a long night. I wasn't necessarily into the most of the card above this, but this match really had me excited. Okay, all right, this can be a special night. It was a sprint, you know. It was, like you said, chaos, but it was just fun, man. Everybody here got to shine, and it was physical too, like you mentioned, just very, very physical. I love Brody King getting a chance to look like a monster, and Julia's turn was cool, and I guess it was right at the right time now. So I can't wait to see what happens next for them. But what does Death Triangle do next? If they're gonna continue this, I would like it to just break off, like you said, more into more singles feuds. Like all of them would be fun. Phoenix and Black just fighting in a series of matches would be awesome. Like, so they have just great chemistry, all 6 of these guys. So they could do more forever, and I don't think we'll be tired of it.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. I think, like I said, excellent action there. Jaxie, what would you score that? Because, like I said, the two teams just mesh perfectly as well.
Again, yeah, I have to agree with everything all of you guys have said. I've got nothing else to point out except for they need to bring in trios tag belts ASAP, and I'm not sure who deserves it more first, but one of these two teams need to be the first champions, and then we need to continue seeing this ongoing feud. I do not ever want to think I'll ever get bored of a match between the Lucha Bros and Pac and House of Black. So get some trios belts and have them continuously fight forever. I'll be satisfied. I'm going to give this an easy 5. It was really, really great for me, this match. And yes, finally, Julia Hart turned a bit late, but I think it was at the right timing during the match as well. So it worked.
Yeah, well, we like I said, we've discussed in Julia Hart for a long, long time. So it's nice to see her finally getting a kind of moment here, and it'll be interesting to see where they go for that. And also, Monty, to go back on your point quickly, this is the first match of the card. I mean, don't get me wrong, MJF and Wardlow's a match I wanted to see, but we knew what was going to happen in it. I think this was the first one that kind of woke up the crowd. We weren't sure which way it was going to go, and it actually felt like a proper AEW pay-per-view as opposed to, no offense to what came before it, a Rampage or a Dynamite, you know?
Right, exactly. And that's exactly. I was looking forward to MJF, but we knew it was going to probably be a slaughter. So, yeah, this match really set a tone, even though it was later in the show.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4 3/4 out of 5. Predictions, we all went House of Black. So at the moment, Monty and I on 5, Gina and Jaxie on 4. Poll-wise, we'll have a look at that right now. If we talked about how close it would be to House of Black with 69% of the vote for, again, that is still quite a big swing as it was. We'll move on to the Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament Final. Oh my God, this was an hour of my life I'm never going to get back. So let's get to it. Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament. Samoa Joe versus Adam Cole. Mike Chioda provided ref duties for the inaugural men's final. Didn't know what corner to go in to begin with, but then soon settled down. We had huge Owen chants erupting the arena, Adam Cole in pink tights, and Cole controlled Joe. But this match for me just didn't get out of gear. Towards the end, we get Vintage Joe with a powerbomb into the SDF combo, and then Bobby Fish ran in to deliver an arm wringer. Cole owed a boom but missed, with Joe briefly locking the cookie in the clutch. Sent Fish packing. The super kick party and the boom from Cole got the win. And Excalibur announced the official presentation ceremony would occur after the women's final later in the night. It's a battle of the former NXT champions, never met before. We are getting an AEW pay-per-view. It did make me think. Do you think Tony Khan did tell Martha that they were both ex-WWE guys? He probably didn't. But anyway, as the match itself, Jaxie, what do you think of this?
Yeah, it was a good match. It just, for me, I don't know why, but it wasn't like my favorite. I don't think. The minute I saw Adam Cole come out in the pink, I knew I screwed up again. And I just, it was just frustrating, I think, because I don't necessarily feel like the match had that much time to kind of get into a point where it could be like awesome. But yeah, I don't know why I wasn't really feeling this match, so it didn't really do much for me. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 3. So.
No, I mean, like I said, but this match for me, it was basic. I think that's be fair.
It could have been kind of like one of those type of matches that you see on the normal Dynamite or Rampage. It kind of didn't feel like a finals of the Owen Cup. I know that we got the sort of Owen chants and stuff, but that's the only thing that sort of reminded you that this is actually for the to win the Owen Cup. So yeah.
Well, not to be that guy, but it's like you've got one wrestler who has been, Shawn Michaels, and the comparisons between him and Shawn Michaels since he started his career, and then Samoa Joe. So it's not kind of like, at least with Kyle O'Reilly, as we spoke about in the pre-show, he is Canadian. He is in a group where he is not the main star, So the similarities was there, but obviously Tony Khan hates us. But in all seriousness, though. Gina, what did you think? Because like I said, it just didn't light up maybe what we were expecting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you all there. Even when you guys just mentioned it and we're talking about the spots right now, I'm trying to remember the match. It didn't really stand out to me. It was one of those matches that I probably, if I was in the arena, would have used as my toilet break because I would have probably zoned out a bit. I mean, they're both good individual wrestlers, and I always enjoy matches that they're both involved in. I just wasn't really committed to this match and found myself wondering a little bit. So I'll give it a 3.25.
And Monty?
Yeah, I was the same way. I think maybe it was because of that the match right before it was just nonstop, but like this match was slow too. It just, like you said, it had no fire. For a tournament final, don't get me started. I'm watching the best of the Super Juniors. I've watched G1s. I watched tournaments where the energy, even where the rules is for them not to make noise. They're breaking the rules because the matches get so intense over there. So, maybe that's probably too what I was comparing to, but it just drained. The finish felt lazy because I was like, all right, well they could that felt very like regular show type of finish. Like, all right, if you're gonna do a tournament like this for Owen, like I felt like you should have a hard, fought type of victory finish anyway. And it only went, I don't know how long it went, like 10 minutes or whatever, but it was solid, like you said, it's all solid. But 3.5 was about where I was at, or 3 3/4, something like that. Adam Cole, I guess, did need an accomplishment, but in AEW, but this match did not move me.
Yeah, well, at least have Jay Lethal and the tall fella come down to continue that story as opposed to
like Bobby Fish, you expected, but it was like, all right, maybe tonight they'll do it differently, but they went right down the, like you said, the basic path.
Well, Monty, you did fall on your sword here with predictions because you could have
Yes.
gone Adam Cole, but you did stick with Joe, which hasn't helped you out here. But it does mean Jaxie and Gina have caught up with you now. So you three are on 5 points, and I am in the lead with 6. Well, we don't know. Who knows? Well, we do, but we don't. Who knows? Adam Cole got 60% of the vote there in the poll, which makes sense as well. And then we had, I mean, because I watched this on catch up, at this point, I'm looking at it and thinking, right, this is our 7th match coming up. Why is there still 3 hours left? That's the only thing.
I was so tired. I was already yawning at this point.
Halfway through the card. But anyway, the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament Final, Ruby Soho versus Dr. Britt Baker. DMD calls Fozzie's Rich Ward on guitar duties for Baker's entrance. They wheel him out on the pay-per-views because he's just standing around Jericho's kind of locker room. But he is no Rick Boogs. We did get legendary Rancid playing a live rendition of Ruby Soho. Do you know what? It's a great performance. I'm not going to lie. You know, I was pleasantly surprised by this. As for the match, well, Ruby would not stay down, taking a ton of punishment before flattening Baker with a suplex and a top rope senton bombs away for a near fall. But Baker utilised the count to the victory roll, much like Owen Hart did against brother Brett at his most famous victory, WrestleMania 10, to get the win. Brett helped Ruby get to her feet in a begrudging show of respect before going to the entrance where Tony Schiavone was there with Adam Cole. Introduced Martha Hart, who brought out by Tony Khan. We get huge Owen chants and a thank you Martha chant ringing out, and she delivered a speech honouring the legacy of the great Owen Hart and saying the thank yous. But this might be the first time I ever said, hurry the fuck up, Martha. And I mean, I didn't mean it in a horrible way. It was just, it felt long. Anyway, Monty, what did you think of the match before we get on to the coronation ceremony?
Okay. Well, like you said, the match, I thought Ruby, did what she could. And they and I did love, I want to mention, I do love the Owen Hart spots. But, I still only could give it like 3.5 or whatever because I just don't agree with booking Baker to win here. I hate whenever you portray a character as they cannot win the big one and then you make them lose another big one against the same person they lost the first one. It's like, what do you do with Ruby? Or like, what do you do with her after that? Honestly, I just didn't like that move, even if it was predictable. So it is what it is. I guess, like I said, the match itself, in my opinion, wasn't really bad. Because like I said, the Owen Hart spots were cool, and I didn't mind the finish either. But yeah, I just don't agree with the booking decision, so I gave it 3.5.
Well, I did warn everybody, that the issue.
Oh no, you did, you definitely did.
The issue in AEW is the emphasis on Jade Cargill and Britt Baker, and like you said, Soho, with like you said, losing at the Grand Slam and her third shot at marquee victory, and she loses clean with no excuse to speak of. Right. I did joke saying Baker is the AEW version of Charlotte Flair, but it's kind of hard to argue. My only thing was that to get that moment with Baker and Cole together, both holding the titles, which we got. But Jaxie, am I being harsh on Martha, or did she go longer than the matches?
I mean, I kind of didn't really mind Martha's speech, although I did actually feel like, at one point there was like a few pauses that I was like, okay, come on, what else? Come on then, But I can't hide my disappointment with this. Like, we had in a total of 3 roll-up pins for both semi-final matches and the final match of the women's Owen Hart Cup. It just is really depleting, knowing that you're just not letting the women have like actual finishes. It's just baffling as to you know, they're reaching into WWE territory with this roll-up pin stuff, and it just does make my eye roll. I also agree, like, what do you do with Ruby from here? And, like, it was just so predictable. As soon as I saw Britt come out in the pink, I was like, oh, they're just going down the couple route. And, like, I saw the sort of, like, hiding of belts there, and I just knew, oh, she's definitely winning, because they're like, how are they going to have Adam Cole win this belt, become the King of Hearts, and then have Ruby Soho win the belt, and then, like, become the Queen of Hearts? That looks odd. Like, but I just kind of wish that they wouldn't play on this so much, like this whole coupley thing. Like, I still agree with you, James, in terms of I feel like Kyle O'Reilly should have won it. Being like him being Canadian, him being, you know, someone that's not really sort of the main center focus in the Elite. I thought that this sort of thing would have been really good for him to have won, especially with both of his matches being so great. I thought he deserved it, and it would have been like a decent fit to then have Ruby win, and then, like, there would be, like, it wouldn't have, like, been awkward. It's just, yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed in the match overall, as well as the finish. Sorry, not, like, you know, the wrestling was good, but again, it kind of felt like, you know, Adam Cole and Samoa Joe's match. Like, there was nothing for me that really stood out, and then, like, it kind of depleted with that finish. So for me, I'm sorry, I'm gonna give that a 3.
No problem. I mean, for me, what I noticed was they had the table with the belts and the trophy on as Adam Cole made his way down to the ring, and then moved it as Adam Cole made his way back up, and then put it back in place when the women's match is on. I'm thinking, why move it? Like, who's falling over that? They're going to know there's a table there with a trophy on, surely. Like,
I mean, I think they only moved it because Rancid obviously were playing at the top of the ramp, and then so was the guy from Fozzy. But, like, again, another thing that I want to point out is that I just feel like, because maybe Ruby got Rancid to play, maybe Britt last minute was just like, yo, Chris Jericho, lend me your guitarist to just play my part, because I'm the one winning this, so I need something from my entrance too. That's all I could, like, kind of see stemming from the fact, because I was like, why the hell would he be playing her, like, track anyway? And then it made sense when Ruby Soho had the actual band out. So yeah, it just like, I think the wrong person won.
Yeah. Well, we'll get on that to the second. Gina, I hope you haven't got any resentment towards your picks. What did you think of the match?
No, my sister pretty much explained how I feel as well. I'm definitely just, what disappoints me more, I'm really disappointed that I've lost out on this point again, but I genuinely thought Ruby was getting this win, because I was like, she can't lose to Britt again. Surely not. They can't. They got to give this to Ruby, surely. So I am a little bit annoyed at the fact that Ruby's lost, but I'm even more annoyed about the roll-up pin situation. What annoys me is the fact that it's the two semi-finals and the final that had these roll-up pins. Like, surely if you're going to have roll-up pin wins during this cup, you would have it in more of the beginner matches, not in the actual finals, where you want it to be an epic match and finish in an epic way. And for me, that was just so deflating. It kind of killed the vibe of the match itself for me. So yeah, I was disappointed.
Well, no, I think the only problem with that is, especially if it's the Owen Hart tournament, you're expecting I think the final match is to either be sharpshooter finish, which, you know, was never going to happen, I think, for that, or, like I said, the most famous victory for Owen with the roll up. But like I said, it happened in the women's match, where I think it might have made more sense with Cole on Joe, just through size in itself.
Yeah.
But what would you score that anyway?
I'll give it a 3 1/4 as well.
No, I'm going to give it 3 3/4. I didn't mind it too bad. Predictions. Again, I did tell you all, and I don't tell you all just because I like to hear the sound of my voice. That's part of the reason. So it means that I did go Britt Baker, and the rest went Ruby. So everyone else is on 5, and I moved to 7. Poll-wise on that, this was close. Britt Baker, 60% of the vote. And then up next, a 6-person tag team match. And if you arrived at this match unsure on who to cheer or why to care, you're not alone. No one was particularly likable or even presented as a babyface, and the booking leading to it, the match itself, was all over the place. But we did get the second appearance for the Cody Vader, as the Magnificent inspired Sammy Guevara and Tay Conte made their ring. Van Zandt started which is the point of the whole thing in the first place. So I guess that worked. The tension between Kaz and Sammy over the latter's continued focus on his girlfriend. Roman ejected the hand, got in the way. Moves were executed with a few spots, and Guevara blasted Conte in the most talked about spot in the bout. In the end, though, it was TNT champ Scorpio Sky delivering a TKO to Kaz for the win, and sure neither he or Guevara can challenge for the titles again. Gina, what do you think of it?
I mean, it was okay. I think I was making tea at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, as you
off,
said, as you said, I wasn't truly bothered by who actually won this match. Or, I mean, I think in all honesty, we didn't want Sammy to win just because we are so sick of Sammy and his TNT reign. He doesn't need another one. He's had enough. So none of us wanted that. So I guess the people that I would have wanted to win are going to be the Scorpio, Sky, and Paige and Ethan. So yeah, it was okay. They did it. I will give Paige her dues. It was her first major match, and she did it in front of like so many people, such a big crowd. That's not easy to do, and I think she did well for what she was able to give us. So I definitely will say that Ty and Sammy helped her a lot in a lot of the spots, and I did notice that. So, and the one thing I will give Ty and Sammy is they play their annoying roles well. They do commit to them. They're like, oh, do you know what? If you're going to hate us, we're going to go all out and make you truly hate us. And they did it well. So I'll give them that. It was entertaining. I'm really, really grateful for Scorpio getting the win and just finally putting an end to Sammy going for the belt, because I just do not want to see that carry on. I'm so sick of it. So it was a good match in my eyes. And yeah, I'll give it like a 3 3/4.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing for me. It's too much kissing. I mean, the only person I know loves watching like people wrestling kissing is Jerry the King Lawyer. He would be all over that. But for me, I just, just too much tongue.
Yeah,
like I said,
definitely too much. They could tone it down a lot.
You know what I'm saying? Paige did all right, though. That is an excellent point. But did anybody else find that Kaz just didn't seem interested in challenging for the title after a while? Because he's like, look, I know the stipulation, but I just think you're a prick. So I don't mind not challenging for this title as long as you can't. That's what it felt like towards the end. Jaxie, what would you score that?
I have to agree with you guys. Like, I feel like this match was predominantly to kind of showcase Paige. They've been talking about her so much, and she did officially sign a contract, but yet not had a match. So this kind of was really about her. I do agree that Sammy and Ty just sort of played their role well. It's very annoying, but they played it well, and they also kind of helped her in certain spots. Was I like the biggest fan of this match? No, I feel like it was a bit messy, if I'm honest, and just kind of like I kind of got lost the plot at one point. Like, Kazarian, are you teaming with them or not? You're arguing. Who are you fighting? Who are you fighting with? Yeah. Like that sort of thing. So it was okay. I think Paige probably came out looking the best out of the match. I'm just gonna be a bit harsh, and I'm just gonna score it a 3.
That's fair enough. I mean, I think we can all hope, Monty, that this is over forever now.
Yeah, it has to be. I hope so. And this is possibly the worst angle in AEW history. It just didn't make any sense. For the most part, and the match ended up being fine to me. I didn't mind Sammy kicking Ty, and I didn't mind Frankie basically saying screw them, even though he came back or whatever, which kind of led to the kick anyway. But like you said, Paige was fine for her debut. She need a little bit more seasoning, and with time she'll probably be even better. And Scorpio and Paige, Scorpio and Kazarian and Ethan Page, not Paige Van Zant, but anyway, Ethan Page, they were all solid. They did their jobs well, in my opinion. But I do wonder with Ty and Sammy, with their being so committed to this role now, And it's such a departure from where they both were. They both were taken way more seriously in their respective divisions. And it's like you said, with all that kissing, they keep sucking each other's face. How can anyone ever take them seriously? So I just hope this doesn't mean the heat that they're getting now, which is they're doing a good job, but I hope that doesn't turn into like never taking them seriously down the line, because of just how much they're leaning into it. So I gave it 3.5 though. I didn't mind it, but I wouldn't, like you said, my expectations were low from the beginning.
But this is what we spoke about, because even with Lita and the Broken Skull sessions a few weeks back, we spoke her relationship with Edge and kind of how, but that was different because Edge was on a kind of rise to the top, and he just needed that one little thing to switch the character, and that's what Lita brought. Whereas Sammy, it's kind of, even like you said, taking a step back now, and it's like, well, he's nowhere near the main, the world title scene at all. The TNT title's not a thing. So what's next now? Is it a feud with Adam Cole and Britt Baker?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you do next, and how do you even make it? Because now they're almost to the point where it's hard to even like them. Even in this story where they tried to turn them back face at the end, they couldn't get people to like them. So I don't even understand it, what they're gonna do with them next.
Can we not feed into like couples wrestling constantly? Like, I don't mind mixed tag wrestling. I actually really enjoy it, but I don't need to be seeing Anna Jay and Jungle Boy teaming up to go up against Britt and Adam Cole and Ty.
Oh man, that might be next.
Like let's not go that route, yeah? Like, let's not. Let's only do that, like, once in a while, please.
Yeah, or like with WWE did a couple of years ago, it's like a mixed match challenge where I
loved the mixed match challenge. I honestly loved the whole concept behind it, and again, I have to actually give this shout out. The Miz and Oscar was the team I wasn't expecting to love so much. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. So 3.25 out of 5 for me. Prediction: we all went heels. So the rest, I'm going to call you all the rest. You're all on 6. I'm on 8 at this moment in time. I hope no one minds. And then poll-wise, with this American Top Team with 70% of the vote as well. But a completely wasted hour in hindsight. What have we accomplished in that past hour there? Not on the pod, boys and girls. I'm talking about on the card of the show.
They could have definitely saved some of these matches for like a Dynamite and Rampage. That they didn't need to be on this show and could have made it a hell of a lot like shorter.
At this point on Twitter, people were asking, was this the worst AEW pay-per-view of all time? I've seen it with my own eyes. While it was going on, people were on Twitter were asking, because that's how bad it was pacing at this point. Like, it was rough. It was really rough.
Oh, wow.
Well,
God.
yeah.
Sounds are harsh.
Well, to be fair, the opening was good, and the House of Black Death Triangle tag match was great. But everything else, like you said, just felt real filler. And even the next match, Darby Allin versus Kyle O'Reilly, I'm thinking, oh, not more filler. But these two guys did, though, set out to have a physical bout. Overcame the lackadaisical booking ahead of the crowd treatment on Burnout to become one of the best on the show. Allen was his normal daredevil self, throwing his body around square circle, for better or worse, and matching O'Reilly's physicality throughout. In the end, it was to strike Kevin O'Reilly, who dropped a big knee on the former TNT champ to score the biggest singles victory of his AEW run so far. So, Jaxie, a bit of a surprise. Well, not for you, but for me, a bit surprised that Kyle O'Reilly got the win. But what do you think of the match?
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly is one of my favorite underrated wrestlers. I just really love his technique. I love how much he reads his opponent in the ring. And I register that he reads his opponent's moves in the ring and acts on that. I actually thought this was a great match. Did it need to be on the pay-per-view? No, it didn't. But I enjoyed it. I just think that Kyle O'Reilly was in the wrong match. I really do. He should have been in the Owen Cup final.
Yeah, well, the thing... Sorry, go on.
No, that's right. I was just going to actually say I'm actually going to give it a 3.25 because I really enjoyed the match, but I really just didn't feel like it needed to be on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, both gave it all. And you talk about Kyle O'Reilly and obviously me, Monty, with NXT Update. Kyle O'Reilly is one of the best wrestlers in the world. The problem is he's got no personality. And that's not a shot at him. It's just to watch him wrestle is enjoyable, but it's a bit bland. But Monty, we're talking about Kyle's a little bit different in AEW as he has been in NXT. Do you think that?
Yeah, I think the thing is, Kyle always showed personality when he was with the Undisputed Era. It's just like the way they depicted him. WWE stripped him of everything that made him cool, and then they tried to actually call them their version of cool, and that ruined everything. So like, I don't think he's like lack of a personality. I just think he's not like the most like he's not the greatest talker. He's sarcastic. He's one of those guys, but he's always been awesome in the ring. Like ever since Ring of Honor, before that, when he was in New Japan, like he's always been awesome in the ring. So I'm happy that he's finally getting the credit he deserves.
I feel like with him, it's more like his personality comes out more when he's with like Bobby Fish or Adam Cole or both
he's
of
a bad
them.
guy.
You see that,
He's
yeah,
much
you
better
see
as a
that
bad guy.
personality a hell of a lot more. But when he's kind of either having a singles feud or just kind of coming out by himself, it's pretty easy to be able to kind of lose that personality that he has when he's actually with them, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, he might play off them way better, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when you strip it down to just him, like I said, the dark days against Von Wagner are long gone, and apparently he signed a 5-year contract, so there's going to be big plans, in Cole's mind anyway in AEW. Darby fucked himself up with a dive.
Yeah,
you're going to be right about it. I know you are.
but
the thing I liked though was Excalibur saying, because usually they try and cover it, and Excalibur going, no, actually he did catch his foot on that bottom rope and tripped, and that's why it's kind of called a high risk and such a dangerous move. Because then you're explaining it. And what didn't help was the production team when they're asking for a replay and they don't show it. Maybe be a bit quicker with that. Monty, what would you score that match?
Yeah, I gave it 4 stars though. It was better than any right it had to be, considering the way it was booked. And I thought this was one of those matches that once again woke me up on a long night of wrestling. I thought, okay, they're really going hard. It's for 10 minutes. It made me a random place match. It definitely didn't deserve to be here on this card. But I was definitely shocked with Kyle winning clean, man. Darby, is a made man. So to them, last time I checked, losses in the AEW were supposed to matter though, and he's racking them up, at some of these big spots. But Darby does win a lot too, so I guess I don't mind it. But the match still was fun, so I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy, but I have mentioned Darby with his losing streak on pay-per-view before in singles action, and he's kind of shoehorned another pay-per-view to lose. And yes, he's over, but again, don't even do a WWE way of, this guy's over, so he can lose, because otherwise you don't build momentum. And when you think of, even a year ago where even MJF and Darby Allin were, you think, Allen's going to be right on course next, and now he's kind of dropped down a little bit, and others are overtaking. And all it takes is one of those fucking dives, goes wrong, and like I said, Monty, it's the end of his career. Gina, what did you think of this though?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of like my sister. I really like Kyle O'Reilly. I didn't watch a lot of NXT, and when I did come into it, the Undisputed Era were currently doing the Dexter Lumis storyline with Kyle. When he was getting freaked out seeing Dexter Lumis, and when I saw that, I just instantly just warmed to Kyle. So for me, I feel like I do possibly have a little bit of a bias to him. I really do like him, and I just felt like he did have his own kind of personality, but he just is hidden behind the bigger personalities in his group, For me, I did enjoy the match, but again, agree where the show was too long, this could have been on like a Dynamite or a Rampage. I'm still going to give the match a 4 because I think that both guys did a great job, and I was more entertained in this match watching it than watching the 2 Owen Hart final matches. So that's why I'm rating it 4.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3.95 because basically the same reasons as you did their predictions. Well, Jaxie Gina went Kyle. Monty and I went Darby Allin. So my perfect score attempt is over. I know everybody was really interested in it. But I went 8 for 8, went down. So the scores right now, Monty is on 6, Jaxie Gina on 7, and I am on 8. But of course, we've still got 4 matches to go as well. Poll wise, for that, we have got Darby Allin winning with 60% of the vote. So they was wrong as much as I was. And then we move on to the AEW Women's Championship match. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. And one of the best wrestler, one was the best wrestler in the AEW Women's division. The other, Women's Champion Thunder Rosa, who is a damn fine in-ring performer. Together they managed to deliver a hotly competitive match from top prize in the division that played up the competitive spirit of the champ and the technical skill of the top contender. Deeb wrestled the champ early, but Lamura fought back and found herself in control of the bout after several minutes of the defensive. Unable to retain control, the women teed off on each other. The champion forced to fight through a knee injury to May in the fight. She did, though, rocking Deeb with a headbutt, delivering a suplex, and finish off with a Thunder Fire driver for the win. Monty, what do you think of this?
Yeah, man. Of course, another build where I think we all just think that AEW pretty much probably dropped the ball, but in this case, I think Serena and Thunder Rosa were determined to make you forget about whatever got us here and just focus on them in this match. And they wrestled their ass off, man. It was great chain wrestling. Serena, I get why they were comparing her to Dean Malenko the way she wrestled in this match. Thunder Rosa, just makes you believe, and it was just a wrestling clinic, man. They would, the finish, in my opinion, was well executed, and I just think AEW needs more of this more often. I'm happy Thunder Rosa got this moment for her reign, because that's been the biggest criticism of her so far for a while now. It's just, oh my God, everyone hates the reign. No one likes what they're doing with it. They're not putting it on television. Hopefully, great matches like that could lead to more down the line. I know that's what we're all hopeful for, but we'll see what the hell happens. I gave it 4.25.
4.25. Yeah, this was excellent stuff here. There's a few things that annoyed me during this match, but had nothing to do with the wrestling. The crowd was tired, and one of these things, and so I'm not going to go for a rant because I haven't got the energy.
We were tired.
But of course, the crowd was tired. But they're getting drinks, they're chilling out during the majority of it because they've been accustomed to do this by Dynamites and stuff like this as well. Because when you've got the kind of women's match before the main event, it means, everybody just, fill up your drinks and whatever it is, and then you can get on to the real match that's kind of happening afterwards. And another thing that really fucking winds me up, and it really does, is when people go like, oh, this was great women's wrestling. And no, it wasn't. It was great wrestling, right? It doesn't matter. If you look at Oscar or Sasha Banks or, Thunder Rosa or anybody, Gianna Perazzo, they are some of the best wrestlers in the world, not just women's wrestling, So it does annoy me sometimes. Yes, it is a women's title they're going for, but don't give me that. Anyway, ran over. Gina, what did you think of this?
Yeah, I thought it was a great match, and just like Monty said, I think this is the women's wrestling that we're wanting to see on pay-per-views, Dynamite, Rampage, things like this. It's really good. You could see the dedication from both of the superstars as well. Serena Deeb is so good. The sirens are coming for her. Sorry about that in the background. But Serena Deeb is so good. And I haven't seen much of her in any other wrestling platforms. So when she did come in and started doing the 5-minute professor lessons, etc., those sort of things, she was really cementing like her character for me as a new sort of fan to her. And watching her go against Thunder Rosa, they're both not scared to like take some bumps. I think they had a great match, and there were some things that were missed, but to be honest, I still thoroughly much enjoyed this match over the other two female matches that we've already seen on this card. So for that reason, I'll give them a 3.95.
Yeah, well, I said it's nice to have an AEW pay-per-view where 3 women's matches were actually on the show, and yeah, we can have a look at times, but let's just enjoy that. There's a couple of moments in the match as well. First off, nice outfit from Rosa. The slap exchange and the fall was choice stuff, but my favourite was the pendulum by Rosa on Deeb, where you don't see that often, and even the crowd reaction was like, wow, that is impressive stuff. Jaxie, what do you reckon for that match?
Agree with everything you said, especially Rosa's outfit. I loved her outfit. I just couldn't take my eyes off her. The constant back and forth between them, it was just great wrestling. And they played well. They played well off of each other. It just worked so well. It was one of my favorite matches of the night, if I'm honest. It was just good, decent wrestling. And yeah, everything both Rosa and Dee were doing were just highly impressive. They both had their moments to shine. And yeah, this is, even though it's we've not had as much screen time when it comes to Thunder Rosa's reign, this was one of the better matches she's had to showcase, why she is champ right now. So, for me, I'm going to give this a 4 because I actually really enjoyed it and couldn't look away.
Yeah, I'm going to give us 4.5 because I was so pleasantly surprised. It was given a little bit of time, about 16 minutes, and they really, really delivered. Predictions, we all went Rosa, so that means I'm on 9, Jaxie and Gina on 8, Monty is on 7, poll-wise for that one as well. Thunder Rosa, 81% of the vote. And then Anarchy in the Arena. Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, and Angelo Parker battled Moxley, Danielson, Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. I mean, we wanted Wizard, but Jericho picked NSYNC. But I guess this match was more Backstreet Boys. Come on, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Anyway, Lee Blood.
You just said that.
I guess we'll have to take that. Well, the blood flowed freely. The fans in Las Vegas cheered the unbridled violence that spilled in the stands into the arena corridor, round ringside area, and back in the squared circle. And the AEW production team had a job on their hands trying to capture everything that was going on. Actually did a good... I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because I know what's coming next. They did a good job. And then Eddie Kingston coming down, covered in blood, looking like a zombie, stalked the ring with a gas can, determined to set Jericho on fire. What's fucking mental.
We witnessed attempted murder here.
But Eddie, we're all going, oh, that's fine. Anybody else, we would have questioned it. But with Eddie, we're just going, yeah, you
I literally
crazy
was
bastard.
screaming at the TV saying, somebody please go tell Eddie that wrestling isn't real. Please, someone go tell him.
It was crazy. It really was. But I think what was even crazier was that the JAS actually won the match when Jericho trapped Danielson in a single leg crab and Hager choked him out with a broken ring rope. I mean, even the crowd greeted the finish in awe that the faces actually lost. Gina, what did you think of this mental matchup?
I mean, there were so many spots that it's hard to break down. Again, like the House of Black Death Triangle match. If you have not seen this match, just go watch it for yourself because there's way too many spots for us to talk about and just tell you because people were everywhere. And it's hilarious because at one point, I think Daniel Garcia was down by the ring somewhere fighting someone and Eddie was out the back fighting one of 2.0 guys. And next thing I know, Daniel Garcia's there. And I was like, wait, how quick did Daniel Garcia run to get to this spot? It was hilarious because you just couldn't keep up with who was fighting who. You see them in one screen fighting, Ortiz is fighting with one of them. Then next thing you know, Ortiz is in the other, in a complete different spot. I found it hilarious that Daniel Garcia and Eddie got trapped in a lift and were just probably fighting and brawling in this lift until they got it open again. Yeah, too many spots. I did find it entertaining. Was it stupid on some levels? Yes, but is this what you should expect from Chris Jericho? Yes, we all want stupid entertainment. And to be honest, with a show as long as it was, we needed some sort of carnage to wake everybody up and keep them still awake for the main match that was to come. This definitely should have woken everybody up because they were everywhere in the crowd. And I think that's why they made it a Stadium Stampede match. They knew it was going to be a long pay-per-view. They thought, do you know what? Let's actually fight in the crowd. Let's get people lit. So that's what they did. So yeah, I think they executed it well. They did their purpose. There were some great spots for me, and I'll give it a 4.25.
4.25. Well, like I said, this. Yeah, I mean, anybody's seen ECW back, mid-90s where the hard rock music was playing and everybody just beating the shit at each other. This was so similar, with Wild Thing playing. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't know. And then I was getting into it. By the time Jericho cut it off, I was actually a little bit annoyed. But like you said,
I forgot about that. Yeah, they left the music playing and I thought that was brilliant. It was perfect because it was singing Wild Thing and they were all fighting in the crowd. It was ironic, wasn't it?
Right, but you hit like I said, the nail on the head with the shot in the arm. The crowd needed a match like this at every pay-per-view, but there was nothing wrong with that. Like I said, but the action and getting involved. We talk about, of course, Santana Ortiz diving off the ladder through tables. Hager took a table spot as well, which jumped up quickly from that. And there was just shit going on. And Bernard as well with the blade job that he did early on, but that was quite impressive to see him just bleeding buckets everywhere. And of course, Jericho's bald spot, which I know would be enough in this matchup. But Jaxie, what do you think of this?
Definitely just chaos, wasn't it? Absolute chaos. It was really enjoyable. I definitely am hoping that, there is no permanent damages to anyone because of just everyone went hard and it was like you look away and you miss a certain part. So you just never know what was going on. Yeah, this match went hard. Like, I started losing my shit when Eddie just came down with the gas. I was like, what the hell? And he just literally did not give two F's about Bryan Danielson. He was just like, oh, you're here too. Well, here, you can have some too. No wonder they both started fighting. I'm definitely expecting kind of something to come from this and, maybe a side feud happen between, Moxie's current partner and past partner. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what stems from this from their point of view. And I totally did not see the Jericho Appreciation Society winning. It was a brutal way to win as well. Like, Bryan Danielson definitely just took it hard. It was really kind of hard to watch towards the end. But yeah, it was a good match. I'm going to give it a 4.5 just because of how much brutality was involved in it.
But again, something I didn't mention about the match, and when Kingston came down to set Jericho on fire, it was Bryan Danielson who was like, no, fuck that shit. No, you've got to stop it. And like I said, the infighting between the two opened up the door for the JAS. But this was crazy, Monty, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, man, it was insane. I didn't know how to rate. I didn't know how to rate it. I actually stopped taking notes. I just watched it. It was just like they blended everyone, like the feuds together, like you guys just mentioned, and basically highlighting that of course Eddie Kingston, he's not a part of the Blackpool Combat Club. He doesn't care about that, about Moxley's alignment. He was out to hurt Chris Jericho, and of course he stepped over that line as the fight got more intense. But man, that moment was just awesome. You'll never forget that imagery of him appearing on the stage with the gasoline can. And, I didn't expect JS to win, but I had so much fun that, everything just worked. Everything was executed in the right way. Danielson he looks like a badass now. Two former world champions needed to do it, and they needed to take him out together. The two world champions of the JAS. And like I said, the way they did it, like I said, just makes him look tough as hell. So the production team had a hard time keeping up with this, man. It was just so much stuff going on. They definitely missed partial parts of certain spots. So I give them props because I know what it's like to be a cameraman for an event or run wires. I've done it before. It's hell. So I can only imagine what it was like for this match. But anyway, I gave it 4.5 stars. This was great.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.25. Like I said, really, really good stuff. And we talked about earlier kind of being the worst AEW pay-per-view since O'Reilly and Allen, the women's title match, and now this. You're finally thinking, yeah, we're getting into
They
it.
picked it up.
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing is that we're nearly 4 hours into the event.
Oh my God, I was tired. Yeah, this was it. This was it. I was really contemplating, should I stay up? And I did, but man, it was bad.
Mate, Mail and me, like I said, I had to split it up into two. But like I said, predictions, we all went for the BCC, so no points. So it's still 9-8-7. Poll wise for this, we have the BCC on 85% of the vote. And then we got an update from Andrade El Idolo. Not Armadillo, El Idolo, as it was, with Andre saying he hates the name AFO, deeming him a group of losers. And he says he had a contract for Andre, his new associate, Rush. Now, can you tell us anything about Rush, Monty? Is he on your radar at all? Because unfortunately, he's not on mine.
Yes, former Ring of Honor World Champion. He is also an original member of Los Ingobernables, which is the faction of Tetsuya Naito in Japan, Los Ingobernables de Japón. So it's really just saying they're the ungovernables. One is the ungovernables of Japan. But anyway, him and Andrade has history. They both are former faction members together. They wrestled together when they're both under mask in Mexico. And Rush is awesome. He's a beast. He's just like I mentioned, Bandito. And I think they also have great relationships with Ryu Lee, Dragon Lee. So he's awesome. I think this is a great move for Andrade. I think they're finally going to be taking him seriously. I can only imagine what this could lead to, possibly for Forbidden Door or whatever down the line, or maybe even possibly full-time in AEW, or he's just going to be representing for their Ring of Honor brand. I'm not really sure, but I am excited to see him here, and I think that getting away from the AFO is definitely the right move. It's just a leftover Matt Hardy faction. He deserves much better. And I think those teams in the AFO deserve much better. Angelico, all those guys. So I'm glad that that's probably no more going forward. We'll see what actually happens and if this have anything to do with Forbidden Door in the coming weeks, I guess.
Well, that is an excellent answer. It gives me some information there as well. Then we then see America Top Team talking about their feud with Sammy Guevara and Kaz being dead, looking on to move to bigger and better things. But Dante Martin made his way to the interview area, said he was stepping up. Sky said he'd give Dante a shot in SoCal. Gina, so we're going to have Dante Martin versus Scorpio Sky. That can only be good.
Yeah, it's going to be great, but rip Dante Martin, because it's going to be a great match. But I do think he's not quite on the level to possibly take that championship from Scorpio. But I think it's going to be a great spot for Dante and great learning curve. And I also think Scorpio is going to underestimate him a bit and probably think, oh, this is going to be a breeze, and so he's going to shock him and be like, oh, actually, I'm going to need to put some effort into this match. So I definitely look forward to it and see what it does for Dante.
Yeah, it should be good stuff. Well, we have got 2 more matches left, all double or nothing. The AEW Tag Team Championship match was in the co-main event position as Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus defended their titles against Team Taz's Powerhouse Hobbs and Absolute Ricky Starks and the team of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Still, despite going on so late in an overly long show, they all 6 delivered a fun, action-heavy match that kept the crowd invested throughout. Lee flying through the air with unmatched athleticism for a man his size did not hurt matters. Jungle Boy and Christian Cage continued to tease a potential rivalry, each responsible for distractions that could have cost the champions their titles. But instead, Jurassic Express overcame the challenge of 2 very game teams to retain. The only thing I didn't like about this match was Swerve eating a pin, but then again, who else could? Jaxie, what did you think of this?
This was a great, triple threat tag match. I'm disappointed with the outcome. I genuinely felt like this was the right time for maybe like Hobbs and Starks to maybe have a bit of a push. But I could see that things are leading somewhere in terms of like what's going on with Jungle Boy and Christian. Yeah, there were some pretty great spots. I too was a little bit better that Swerve took the pin. Didn't really feel like he needed to take it. But then again, after, kind of them retaining, I was already kind of deflated a little bit in terms of my score. I was like, damn it. But it was a good tag match. It was.
Yeah. What would you score out of 5?
I'll give it a 3 3/4. I thought it was a good match.
Yeah. Well, even they weren't 2 proper tag teams involved. I did love the matching outfits, and even Jurassic Express had a new matching outfit as well. Gina,
yeah,
Gina, I could hear you scream when Ricky Starks was walking along that top rope and then got caught. It was a funny moment, but I did worry.
That was rough.
Yeah, I mean, I probably was screaming at the TV like I was his wife or something. Like, I was watching that. I was quite worried at one point. But aside from my bias for Ricky, all 3 teams did so well in this match. And seeing as we've had quite a lot of like trios matches on the card already, the 3 teams managed to make this match still unique and not feel like repeated in a way or something like that, and I did enjoy it a lot. I was really expecting. I feel like AEW holds back a lot. They held back with the Julia Hart story, and I know it worked out for the show tonight, but they still probably should have done it earlier when she had the opportunity firsthand. And I feel like they should have done that with Christian. I think this probably would have been the opportunity to do something with Christian, because we know it's coming. We can all feel it. So I was a bit disappointed that it didn't happen, because I also wanted to get a I told you so moment. But yeah, it was great. It was a good match. I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah, I mean, the couple of really choice near falls with Starks hitting the spear on Jungle Boy, looking like that might be done as well, and a couple of really good moments. Keith Lee was over like Rover. AEW, please use him. You can see the reaction he gets from the crowd. You need to kind of do something with that. Yes, it was a little bit of a mess sometimes, but I think all 3 teams delivered. But again, if this had started the show, I think this would have been maybe completely different to kind of not even the reaction, because the crowd were, but I just think maybe placement in the card could have been better for it. I might be wrong though. Monty, what do you reckon?
I mean, that's fair. It probably could have been a little earlier in the show, but I think it being right here actually for the way that night played out for me as the viewer, it was rough, because at that point I really was tired, and but I stayed up because I really was interested in all 3 of these teams, and I wanted to see how this played out, because although I did see a lot of shock for Jungle Express retaining, I understand that, but I predicted what I predicted, because I just felt like the turn wasn't ready against these 2 teams. Neither team were ready to be champions yet, in my opinion. And but the match itself was competitive. It was explosive, and I thought everyone looked good here. Like I said, the big men all had spots where they looked great. Swerve, Ricky, and Jungle Boy performed their roles perfectly, and they all worked well too. So I didn't have a problem with it. I gave it 4 stars. I was dead tired watching it, so I rewatched it, and then I was like, okay, cool. No, it was as good as I remember. So
yeah. Well, I'll give it 3.95. Like you said, it did have its moments in there. There's no doubt about that. And we'll move on, because I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. So we'll do score for me 3.95. Prediction. Gina Jackson did go Hobbs and Starks. That was it. The moment where Keith Lee and Hobbs double chokeslam Luchasaurus, and I thought, this is the team we need. Like that was the moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
So prediction with the scores, I'm on 10 at this moment, and Monty with that point has drawn level with Jaxie and Gina with just 1 match to go on 8 points. Poll wise, Lee and Swerve were the got the most votes in that one with 50% of the vote, but unfortunately did come up short. And then one match left, the main event, and this is how long the pay-per-view was. Is I got up about 5:30 in the morning just to check the phone to see the results, and the main event was still ongoing. That's how long the show was.
Yeah.
But we will get to it. AEW World Championship match: Hangman and Page versus CM Punk. Big cheers for both competitors, and then made the way to the ring with Hangman glaring at Punk from the second he emerged from the entrance tunnel. Big fight. Phil was Justin Roberts did the in-ring introductions with the two men going nose to nose at the bell. But we saw a crisis of conscience unraveled Hangman's Page reign as world champ in a very good main event, maybe just shy of achieving the epic befitting the pre. But Punk took advantage of the champion's decision not to utilise the world title bout to flatten his challenger and put away with go to sleep for the win. To be fair, the match was best when the competitors were focused on beating the hell out of each other. When they swayed too far away, like stealing each other's finishes, the match fell apart a bit. Look no further as Punk twice botching buckshot lariat, but they did recover nicely to the final few minutes. But the question is, what effect did to win have taken a good guy approach and resisting the urge to cheat on him? You know, the first era of the Hangman is over, and the summer of Punk does begin. And what looks like is far from over. With tears in his eyes, Punk holds the AEW World Championship aloft. And yes, your new AEW World Champion, CM Punk. But Monty, the crowd were into this. Were you?
Yeah, it was late, like you said, it was tough. But but at that point, I'm like, well, I'm up for this. I have to, I have to get hyped. So I watched it, and it was hard hitting. I think it was, like you said, stiff at times, and that's like you said, when the match was at its best was when they were just kind of laying into each other. And I don't know if this is just me trying to make a positive spin on it at the time or whatever, but I was like, him botching that Larry does play into Punk's promos about him trying to get better at this point, and now he's not quite there yet. He always was saying that, but no, he just effed that up. At the end of the day, that's all that happened. It was funny though at the time, but yeah, that was probably when the match was at its worst. But they did an awesome job with the story. I didn't mind the finish. It kind of protected Hangman in a way because the hesitation cost him, but it also did kind of make him look slightly hypocritical for talking about protecting Hangman. I mean, protecting from Punk, and it's like, okay, well, you're the one whose character is in question. But at the same time, I didn't mind it because, again, you can tell a great story from that moment alone. So we'll see what they do with Hangman's hesitation and what role that plays in his future. But I love that he got 7 defenses in. That sounds like a great reign to me. And if you think about every match, ended up being really good to awesome. So, I think he had an awesome reign. And giving this to Punk, especially as a longtime fan of Punk, like I think a lot of us are if you've been watching wrestling a long time, this was a great cap on his love fest that has been his return to wrestling. And it's time for the summer of Punk. And I can't complain. I'm ready to see what happens. Where are we going from here with CM Punk on top in AEW? It's going to be a wild ride, I think.
Yeah, it's time to fucking let's go, as Punk would say. What did you score? Did you score that out of 5?
I gave it 4 1/4. 4
1/4. There you go, man. But yeah, I gave it a 4. Like I said, there was a few moments here, but in the Deadeye was a really close call with the fans maybe calling bullshit a little bit.
Yeah.
But for me, I put something here, and I think people might agree or disagree. Jaxie, I'm going to ask you this question. I thought in this main event, Punk couldn't hang with Page.
Yeah. First of all, that was a good play on words there. Secondly, I have to agree with you slightly, but I also don't feel like this takes away from what Punk has achieved in wrestling. We all know he's got it in him. It's just very unfortunate that he did botch a couple of moves. I do think it's, we're in a culture where, yes, we can address that, you know, someone's fucked up a move, but I don't think that we need to judge their whole wrestling career off of one bad botch. When something goes wrong, it goes wrong, you know. They can't always help it. It's not only just happened to Punk, you know. We saw it earlier in the night with Darby as well. So, you know, these things can happen, and the fact that these men continued, picked up where he left off, that sort of thing, you know, is commendable, because of, you know, some people can feel defeated from something even like that, and then like the whole match itself becomes way much more of a dud. So they did well with keeping the crowd riled up and stuff. There was quite a few near falls that I'm pretty sure could have actually been the end, but never did. It went a bit farther. I think the storytelling was really well done. I kind of thought it was going to go the other way around, and we might have gotten like a sort of like a Punk heel turn, him using the belt and actually winning that way. So I was quite, you know, surprised to see kind of Hangman, you know, struggling with that fact. It'll be really good to kind of see what comes from this in terms of, you know, where Hangman's head is at. I'm looking forward to see what direction he came in. But I have to agree with Monty in saying I really enjoyed Hangman's reign. All of those 7 title defenses, in my opinion, were great matches. I have no doubt that Hangman will eventually get a hold of the belt once again, and that will probably be an even lengthier run. So I just look forward to kind of seeing what the future has in store for him. But with Punk, I'm ready for a summer of Punk. The match itself was good when you take out the few botches that it was. So I'm going to give it a 4.25.
But my only thing with the botches and stuff like that, I just hope people are as nice to a Ridge Holland as they are a CM Punk if they were to make a few mistakes in matches. You know, I know it might be a bit different level, but like I said,
I think that the only argument you can have there really is like, you know, Ridge Holland's botch actually cost Big E his neck. So it's kind of like there's a difference between like a botch from yourself and then a botch with another person where you actually are potentially causing harm to that person, you know?
Yeah, no, about that, but
like you know, no judgment on Ridge is not.
Yeah.
I don't believe without any hesitation that he intended to do that. You know, but it's just like I think it's easier to try and like forgive like a botch when it happens to like a Punk botch, like botching the buckshot lariat, than it is to like really get over, oh my gosh, Big E is out for God knows how long, because his neck is broken.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I completely understand. Like I said, we put it into context there, but it's even like, you know, D'Lo Brown didn't originally mean to injure Droz back in the day, and it maybe with the Owen Hart tournament, they might, you know, WWE might have a Droz tournament next year or something like that. You know, maybe
I also would chuck in there, look at Matt Sydal and his first entrance, and he botched his first move, and I feel like even from that he wasn't really able to become a top tier threat, because I think he was already taken as a joke just from that first initial botch.
But again, like, because of a lot of people didn't know Matt Sydal at that point as well, and this is another example of like that botch was more of a scary botch because no one knew, like it looked like he came down quite hard on his neck, so no one knew whether or not he really had done any damage to himself either. So I think sometimes we have to kind of get over the botch and actually think about maybe the repercussions of what that could have caused, you know, and like just be grateful that it was just a botch and nothing more harmful, you know.
Yeah, well, like we said, we've seen it in AEW. Lance Archer with a moonsault land on his head, or even Ray Phoenix with the arm injury. So, like you said, there is different ways. But Gina, before I get your score, this is a question. Was Adam Page's reign the best reign of any AEW World Champion in history?
No. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the reign that he did have, but I definitely think Kenny has probably had the best reign. Or, I don't know, Chris Jericho's reign was really great, but he was very entertaining in that front. But in terms of the best, I'd say Kenny still holds that. Like Jackson said, I think
defending it.
Yeah, I think Hammam will get another chance and another reign, but right now I think he's going to go through some more like personal issues before he can get to that again. I I do wish, I don't know, in a way, I do wish his reign was a bit better, but he did still defend it quite a lot. So it's not like he didn't do anything with it. But yeah, the match itself was good. I am quite lucky because I actually missed the botch. I was watching the match with Jaxie, and I looked away at the point the botch happened, and they didn't do a replay, so I actually missed it, and I was completely happy with not seeing it. But Jaxie did explain it to me. So, but for me, as long as it didn't like harm any of them, yeah, he can get trolled and for a little bit, you know, everyone can make fun of themselves, and I'm sure Punk would as well, you know. But I don't think, you know, people have to troll and be nasty about it. And we have seen them do that to wrestlers who are not on like Punk's level. So I doubt Punk will get trolled heavily in that front. It'll be forgotten news, especially with the whole MJF pipe bomb we haven't discussed yet. But I still thought it was a good match overall. So I'm going to give it a 4.25.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, Punk's going to get more shit being AEW World Champion now than he was with just that kind of the botches that happened in that matchup. But it just felt, you know, as we look back on it overall, this AEW pay-per-view, I mean, yes, it was nearly a quarter of a day long. But I think every match had a few missteps, and nothing was kind of truly like there wasn't a perfect match. Like All Out last year was just all, you know what I mean? Like I said, every match was just brilliant stuff. I just felt this year just took a little bit of time, or especially with Double or Nothing, took a little bit of time to get into it, cooled down, picked up again. But it's just, you know, I got flashbacks of WWE a couple of years ago where they were doing, you know, 5-hour events, and it was just killing the crowd as it was. But I think overall, as we look at it, we'll get to that in a sec. We just round up. I'm going to give that 4 out of 5, Punk versus Page. Prediction wise, only Monty went for Page. So that means the final scores are Monty finishes with 8, Jaxie and Gina on 9, and I do win with 11 out of 13. So the prediction league, it means Gina and Monty are on 0, Jaxie's on 1, and I take the lead with 2. But we don't have to wait long, because next month we've got the Forbidden Door, which will be, of course, more points for the AEW Prediction League. So the final thing we do is look at ratings, MVP, and the match. The poll wise for the Hangman Page CM Punk, 60% of the vote there. Overall, we'll have a look. For match of the night, for me, my match of the night was House of Black versus Death Triangle. Jaxie, what would you say was your favourite match of the night?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Mine is House of Black versus Death Triangle as well.
Yeah, Gina?
I'm also going to agree. House of Black and Death Triangle.
Yeah. And finally, Monty, you going to complete the set?
Nope, I'm going Anarchy. Had the most fun for me. Anarchy was just too much fun. I had a whole lot of fun watching it. So, yeah.
MVP of the night for me, I'm going to go for a man who actually pleasantly surprised me, and my MVP of the night was Kyle O'Reilly. Because, yeah, the match shouldn't have been on pay-per-view, but not only did he get the win, he beat one of the pillars of AEW. And I thought he really deserved it. Jaxie, what about you?
I'm actually going to go with Thunder Rosa. I think that the match was really well done, and I just kind of really enjoyed what she brought to the match against Serena Deeb. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. Gina?
No, it's difficult. Yeah, I'm actually also going to give it to Kyle O'Reilly as well. I think he had a great match for it not really having a relevant reason for being on the match card, and he still made it like a really great match. And again, as James said, he beat one of the pillars. So for me, I think it should go to Kyle.
And Monty?
Yeah, I'm going Thunder Rosa. I believe she gained probably the most overall and performed the best. Like, she performed one of the best of the night, and then also she gained the most for her reign. And I thought she just left the best impression on me from the entire night.
It's nice. 2 for O'Reilly, 2 for Rose. It kind of sorts that out nice. And overall rating, well, for me, I didn't hate this show, but then again, I watched it differently to people, especially like you, Monty, where I did split it up, so I knew kind of, how it would be, and maybe my rating will be affected that because it wasn't just in one long go. But I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's still, good, enjoyable stuff. Yes, we could have had 4 or 5 matches taken off there, wouldn't have made a difference. But, the main event did deliver in the end. Like I said, the Anarchy match was great. Women's title match, tag team was good. Of course, the start with MJF as well. So 8.5 for me. What about you, Jaxie?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually agree with you in terms of even though the one thing I will complain about is the length of it. Again, I kind of watched it in 2 sets, 2 stages because of the time difference in the UK. So for me, the issue really wasn't time in general, and I felt like the matches that we did have delivered quite well. So I'm actually gonna go and rate it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Gina?
Yeah, again, I agree with you both. We got to watch it in 2 parts, so we didn't have to sit through the whole live event. I did thoroughly enjoy the show, if I'm truly honest. There was still, even though every match kind of had its ups and downs, I was still thoroughly enjoying the show and thoroughly enjoying tweeting along with it. So I'm gonna give it 8 3/4 because I thought it was a good show and I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Monty?
Yeah, you guys are definitely right. It's because of the way you guys consumed it. Because I got 7 3/4. This was just it was solid to very, very good at times, and it hit its stride to me those last 5 matches, honestly. But I only like 6 out of 13 matches that's less than 50%. So that means I think really if you give me a 6 to 7 show match card, oh my God, that's the perfect length, honestly, in my opinion. But anyway, I'm not gonna keep harping on that because I understand from you guys' point of view, it makes sense because on my rewatch, I probably would rate it higher. But you're right, James. This is exactly gave me PTSD to those 5-hour WWE pay-per-views from a few years back. It was a lot of good here, but it had a lot of flaws. So I gave it 7 3/4. Not my favorite AEW pay-per-view at all. But still a good time.
Yeah, well, we asked everybody on the polls as well, how did everyone rate AEW Double or Nothing? And usually this is a really kind of positive score for AEW. But 22% went okay and awesome, 24% with good, and 32% with great. And usually that would be awesome all the way. So it does show that maybe the pay-per-view didn't have the fire. A lot of stupid from Tony Khan about the basketball having to go long, same runtime as Revolution. No, you could have cut a good 2 hours out of that and not had an issue. And then just a couple of things to talk about. Tony Khan flipping out during AEW Double or Nothing media scrum. After being asked a question, of course, Eric Bischoff was talking about being a financial flop. Tony Khan. Jaxie, what are your thoughts on this? To defend you like this, isn't it?
I just think that Tony got a bit over defensive at the wrong person. It's kind of like one of those moments where it's like, okay, well, don't shoot the messenger. I felt like he could have handled himself better, but then again, I don't think he was actually in his right mind. So I just kind of am putting this over my head and being like, well, that was another Tony moment.
yeah, it was definitely something, wasn't it? But
it's midnight, by the way. Midnight.
Yeah.
Or at least almost 1 a.m. where that was, it was 11 where they were on the West Coast. But everyone else weren't. It was midnight.
That type of energy straight after a
11 p.m. Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
That was mental. He didn't mention MJF. But then on Dynamite, the big news is it basically turned into a work with MJF with his own pipe bomb. Here's some of the best quotes from it. He talks about a big merger, lots of executives in attendance. It would be a shame if something bad were to happen. I created moment after moment after moment for this company. I get no respect. All the boys get settled for being great. I have to be perfect. Where were you guys when you called me an unprofessional piece of shit? All the boys in the back want my spot where you can have it because I don't want it here anymore. Is it because I'm not chasing star ratings? I'm a generational talent and people consistently take me for granted. It's not just you, it's the big guy. And make sure he hoards all the money so he can give it to all the ex-WWE guys he keeps bringing in who can't lace my goddamn boots. Hey, boss, will you treat me better if I was an ex-WWE guy? Look at me, Tony. I want you to fire me. And then finally, you fucking mark. So I got to say, it might be a work, but goddamn, it's going to be enjoyable. Gina, what do you think of this pipe bomb?
I mean, wow, just wow. I was watching that live, and I just had to tweet asking, is this a work or is it a pipe bomb? I'm confused because it's so serious, but this is one of the best promos. Again, MJF always just delivers and tops his previous one, you know, and a lot of what he said is truth. So, and it's a lot of things that you would say, you know, is breaking the fourth wall and actually saying the words WWE on AEW Network, you know, something WWE wouldn't do or something like that. You know, he just broke the fourth wall there, and it was brilliant. It was just brilliant. But I hope that they saw it out with him, because losing him is just, it would be devastating to AEW, especially after losing Cody so soon. Yeah. He's great, and I'm all here for another pipe bomb by MJF.
Yeah, it was an interesting time, especially when he did it, and I thought they must have sorted out. Monty, is there any way that Tony and MJF haven't sorted out the problems if he went on Dynamite with that live mic?
Yeah, it's hard for me to believe that they haven't talked or sorted something out. But honestly, even if he haven't, this is the thing. MJF is under contract until 2024. That does not change. So it doesn't matter what he goes out there and say. At the end of the day, they have him under, contract. He can leave, and if he leave and he actually leaves, then something actually is done. But as long as he's on television talking bad, Tony doesn't care. That's why he didn't cut the mic. He's going to use that, for ratings and all of that. So I don't necessarily think it's a shoot. I think MJF is so good at blurring the line with his character, because he rarely ever breaks character, that he can make you believe anything. And I think that's what this shows you, because honestly, the moment he started to bring up, oh, the locker room, you want my spot, they could have just cut the mic, went the black section off to go to commercial and got him out of there if it was really something that wasn't supposed to be on television. You know how it is when something's not supposed to be there. So, they cut his mic way too late. They let him get everything he had to say off his chest. And I thought it was excellent television. And I think I can't wait to see where they go forward with it. But, yeah, him and Tony has either worked something out, or they came to the point where they know there's nothing you can do about MJF. You're under contract, so you're either going to come to work or you're just going to not make money or whatever. You know what I mean? Because, they would be crazy to let him go if he's under contract until 2024.
Well, the thing is about it is they had the excuse to not have him on television. The stretcher job, the 10 power bombs. If he wasn't seen for a couple of months, that would have made sense, But to have him straight on Dynamite makes you think. I mean, Jaxie, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's excellent television, but do they have a risk of kind of working the fans, or is that what wrestling actually is?
I mean, this is kind of normal when it comes to someone like MJF, and I agree with everything that you said, that first of all, the mic could have been cut way sooner. It wasn't. Also, they had the perfect opportunity to write him off for a bit with the stretcher job. They didn't. He turns up first thing on Dynamite. I think that definitely is something has kind of, even if it's just like a mutual agreement, temporary agreement until more talks can be discussed. Either way, this is definitely a work. There is no way Tony would have allowed all of that to have been aired if he didn't allow, if he wasn't on board with it, I think I think the fans need to kind of not get to but at this stage in it, when it comes to wrestling as a whole and as a genre, I think fans need to not get too emotionally invested in everything, and actually just believe that everything is a work, because it can be a work when it comes to wrestling. So, I mean, if people get genuinely offended that they've done it like this, you gotta ask yourself, why are you watching wrestling if this type of stuff annoys you?
Yeah, I think that's true. You know, especially when the kind of MJF news has kind of broken Twitter as well, and let's talk about it, especially kind of overshadowing even I say Bray Wyatt. I think we all know who I'm talking about on Twitter as well, saying saying it's going to happen soon. I mean, if the Fiend possibly could come back at Hell in a Cell, would that be a bigger news story than MJF? Possibly. It's interesting times ahead, without doubt, I feel, in AEW and, of course, elsewhere. Has anybody else anything else about Double or Nothing or the Dynamite after?
I actually do want to point out, for your Dynamite after, the fact that you did not show Thunder Rosa at all, or have her do any form of promotion, was kind of disappointing. Like, she had a brilliant match with Serena Deeb, and then we don't even see her come out like the way that CM Punk came out and had his sort of moment. I think that Tony needs to actually start taking Thunder Rosa and the women's title more seriously. Put a lot of work and effort in with Jade. Show the same respect towards Thunder Rosa and the AEW title, please.
I
think that's a great thing to say. And of course,
and Hiroshi Tanahashi debuted. I can't let that go without mentioning. He is the ace of New Japan, the man who saved that company. Him versus Punk at Forbidden Door. Take my money.
And that is the next time we will be bringing you AEW, when we have the pre-show Forbidden Door. So we've left it there perfectly. Finally, I will say, and again, Jaxie Gina, I know it's the worst time to say this, but it is Hell in a Cell and In Your House this weekend. So we will be doing predictions for both. I apologize, but I am not watching 2.0 for no reason. I hope you understand.
Wait, so are you actually expecting us to do predictions for In Your House?
You beat Monty at Stand and Deliver, so you've got your chance.
Come on.
Tomorrow,
just guess.
We'll do Hell in a Cell and In Your House predictions. And what I want from everybody, to be fair, rather than send it in the group, send it on the personal message as it was on Twitter. And I think then we can't accuse anybody of cheating. I always accuse Monty when we're doing it. So I'd say you copied me. So we have got Hell in a Cell and In Your House coming up.
Don't worry, I'm not looking forward to this.
Wait, yeah. Well, don't forget, we're across all social media: Twitter at the WNR, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I've only been doing this 8 years now. At the WNR JR, and you can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Monty, why don't you plug your stuff?
Yeah, appreciate that. At Mind Monty Pod, I might do me a mini review on the Mind of Monty podcast. Not this in depth, because I don't want to spend much longer talking about the show. But I will do my predictions for Hell in a Cell and get into the news in wrestling this week. So please come check that out and subscribe to Monty's Universe on YouTube. I post clips and original content, so just check them out and let me know what you want to see over there.
Yeah, like I said, it is worth a listen, because you haven't got that annoying English voice that kind of ruins the other podcasts that you do. Jaxie, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me across both Instagram and Twitter at Jaxie Scarlett.
And Gina?
You can find me on the same at Purple Pain.
Perfect. Double also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email at doublepodcast@gmail.com. YouTube Double Podcast for all the latest clips. Podcast at the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode, well, let's just run through the schedule quickly. I will be sending everybody the schedule soon, so they will know. Monty, you have got a shitload coming up. I will just let you know. But Jaxie, you're first. Are you about Tuesday? Because Select Match Pod want to come back and do a Hell in a Cell review.
Ooh, let me just check real quick. Tuesday works for me.
All right, excellent. I can let them know. I said it's all down to you. You know,
Oh, wow.
and I don't.
Times.
Yeah, I don't do it without Jaxie. So Select Match Pod will be with us for the Hell in a Cell review, the third time they've
That's
actually done
great.
with us.
Awesome.
Monty, you are back with me, NXT Updated in your house on the 11th of this month, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then, well, Gina, you as well, because, you know, I obviously do stuff with Monty and Jaxie in a way. Do you fancy doing a crossover next month? Because I've had a couple of offers from other pods, and, you know, I don't mind taking you to meet them.
What does this mean? Sorry.
It means. It means.
Sorry, I don't understand.
There'll be other, like another podcast we'll be doing a podcast with.
Oh,
So
okay.
you'll be tuning up.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
No, it's not that bad. It's a new guy. Basically we like helping people out here on the pod. So he's just a guy who asked if we could do a review of him at some point, and I thought, seeing as you haven't done that, I don't know even if we've just did a show with you and me. So I think that's something to look at, and he's going to be in awe of us because obviously they listen to this show and celebrities to them, so I won't worry too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't see it that way, but cool. Sounds good.
We'll work saying, Cal. So like I said, June 11th will be NXT in your house. The week after, Monty, you've got UK and the network. The week after that, you've got Forbidden Door pre-show. And then we've got the review of that. And then we've got Money in the Bank and the review coming there. Let's not forget SummerSlam at the end of July with an update just in there. So anybody that does not do enough stuff, the next 2 months, you're going to be sick of us. All right? That's all I can say.
And I'm gonna talk about it on my show too. I'm talking about most of that stuff on my show. So this is gonna be crazy.
we are going to be doing so much stuff with so many other different people. It'll be crazy. But that is it for today. And like I said, it has been an entirely enjoyable process having you guys, the WNR team together. 9 hours of pre-show, but for the 2-hour review, we are still not as long as Double or Nothing, though. So we might have to do like an extra hour.
Good job, guys.
But we'll see what happens. But again, like I said, I've been joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Thank you very much for joining me.
It's been great. It's been fun. I will come back with a vengeance to actually claim my top spot back. You will see me on top again. We shall do this again soon.
Of course, the Gina again. It's great having you on, and we're going to take on that other podcast next month, don't we?
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thanks for having me on. It was fun.
And of course, the mind of Monty and you and me. You're going to be sick of me, like I said, in the next couple of months.
Yeah, you can't get enough. Jaxie said she's coming with the vengeance. I need to at least win one. Can I at least win the one with New Japan involved, guys? The AEW one? That's all I'm talking about. The AEW.
That's not allowed, Monty.
I suck at
I'm coming
AEW
for that.
right now.